This time I'm going to be focusing on improvements for digital art or anyone who is painting in Photoshop. So the first and most noticeable one is the color wheel in the color panel. So you can see we can now choose this option from the panel menu. And so instead of having the hue cube that most of the time by default is showing up, switching to this, we get the chance to choose the hues from this wheel and then select the colors, the saturation and brightness from within the triangle. It has its distinct corners, so we have the top left, which is the brightest, bottom left darkest, and then on the right we have the most vibrant or most saturated version of the selected hue. So it's a very useful feature for anyone into digital painting, where you first decide your hue and then you choose the value that you want to work with. And I'm just going to paint here a bit. I'm using one of Kyle's brushes, which is a really cool oil paint effect that we can create here in the background. And of course, you can save these colors as well as swatches by clicking on the little new icon there. But what I wanted to also mention is that this was actually a feature that I already used and was available in previous versions of Photoshop, but only as a keyboard shortcut. If you use the hot color picker, which is Control Option Command on Mac, held down together, and then click and drag to set it up, here you can see we have the hue and then we have the cube in the middle. So it has a color wheel, but not with a triangle inside it. So it's quite similar, still slightly different. But the only thing here that I wanted to point out is that the color wheel is 90 degrees rotated to the left. So the reds are not on the right, the reds are on the top. And also notice that the direction of the hue wheel is opposite. So here we start from red and go towards yellows going clockwise, while in the panel we start from red on the right side and then go counterclockwise to reach yellows. So there's a little bit of inconsistency there, which might be updated soon, but I just wanted to point it out because I am using the shortcut all the time. And by the way, if you're not familiar with the feature, this is the hot color picker in preferences under general, and this is what I'm normally working with, the hue wheel medium. So this has been around, as this is not new. What's new is the color panel's color wheel option, which is really cool. I think for painting, this is definitely the best way of sampling colors. It's more the way like a traditional painter would also think about choosing colors. So moving on, there's another amazing new feature, which is very small and hidden away, but for whoever is doing digital art in Photoshop will really appreciate it. It is under the view menu, and there you will find an option called Flip Horizontal. So the only way so far to see a flipped version of your artwork was by using the Edit, Transform, and Flip Horizontal if it was just one layer that you wanted to see in the opposite direction. Or if you wanted to do all of your layers, then you had to go to Image, Image Rotation, Flip Canvas Horizontally. Now the problem with doing these is that they show up in your history, and when you are working and going back and forth in your history, it will keep flipping around even when you don't want it to do that. So instead now, we can completely do this independently from the actions that you're doing. So just to demonstrate this to you, I'm going to paint something here in the background, so 2 lines. And then I go to View menu and choose Flip Horizontal. Now I can paint again a couple of lines in the background. And if I keep undoing these steps, you can see I can undo my steps without flipping back and forth in views. So the flip and the actions I'm doing are completely independent. So this might seem like a really small improvement, but for anyone doing digital art, will really appreciate it. And why would you need in the first place to flip your view? Well, this is the best way to detect any issues with your proportions or perspective, because you get to look at your artwork from a completely different perspective. So when I flip back and forth, you can feel how different everything looks, and it's a great way to detect those issues that you might have with proportions, placement of details, and so on and so forth. And last but not least, we have the paint symmetry option, which is now a fully fledged feature and not a technology preview anymore. All you have to do is select the brush tool and then click on the little butterfly icon and then choose one of these symmetry options. Let's just say vertical symmetry in this case, which gives you the center of your symmetry that you can place anywhere in your artwork. Press enter to accept it. And then using the brush tool, you can start painting. And you can see that this is going to show up on both sides of the illustration. So this can save you a lot of time if you have anything that needs symmetrical drawing. Let's just add this guy a mustache as well. And if you feel like the symmetry line is getting in the way, then you can go to the butterfly and choose hide symmetry, which means that the symmetry option is still activated, but now we don't have that line in the middle, so we can see and focus better on the artwork while using the feature. Now, if you want to deactivate it, of course, you can choose symmetry off, or if you want to, you can also move the symmetry line to another face in this case. That's the transform symmetry option. Last but not least, I just wanted to mention that for those who already tried this feature out in CC 2018, now we have additional options like radial and mandala. Just to show you quickly, maybe the mandala option, I'm going to choose 3 segments for that, create a new layer, fill it in with white, and then I can start painting on it. So if I start drawing on this, you can see how this works. So first, it's going to create a symmetry within a segment and then rotate that into the other segment.